Technology support workers on Reddit? Is it true that younger generations can use a phone but not a computer? How bad is the problem? It is real, and I think schools accidentally helped create it. Computer classes disappeared because adults assumed children surrounded by technology would teach themselves. But using technology is not the same as understanding it. Many students learn to tap an icon, open a website, and let an app decide where everything belongs. Nobody showed them what a folder is, where a download goes, or why two files with different extensions behave differently. Now some schools are bringing computer lessons back. The strange part is that we are teaching teenagers skills that used to be considered too basic for a class. I was helping a group of students on their Chromebooks and told them to open the Files application. About half of them opened a browser, went to Google, and searched for the word files. They did not understand that I meant a program already installed on the computer. To them, opening anything begins with an internet search. That moment explained the entire problem better than any report could. At college, a first-year student asked me to help retrieve a presentation from a flash drive. She had never used one before and did not know that it would appear as a storage device after being connected. Another student watched us and admitted she had never even seen a flash drive. I suddenly felt ancient while holding a device that people once described as the future. The funny thing is that it was still faster and more reliable than waiting for everyone to remember their cloud passwords. I work with students who call every internet connection Wi-Fi. If mobile data stops working, they report that the Wi-Fi is broken even when Wi-Fi is turned off. Some install a VPN because a creator on social media recommended it. When the VPN blocks the school network, they insist they do not have one because they never learned what the application actually does. The most surprising change is how they search for answers. Many no longer use a normal search engine. They type the question into TikTok and trust whichever short video appears first. One of my classmates was studying information technology but did not know how to create a folder. Every document they had ever made was automatically saved to the cloud. They knew how to press save, but had never been asked to choose a location. When a teacher wanted a file uploaded from the computer, they had no idea where the document physically existed. The interface had protected them from the file system so successfully that the first time they actually needed it, the computer seemed broken. I support people of every age, so I do not think this is simply a story about young people being lazy. Older users often fear technology and expect it to be confusing. Younger users expect every device to work exactly like their own phone. When it does not, they become frustrated because nobody warned them there might be another way to do something. An older employee will ask where a file was saved. A younger employee is more likely to insist there should not be a location at all because the document was in the app. Our help desk received a call from someone who had changed a password that morning. The technician listened for a while and then carefully explained that after changing a password, the new password must be used instead of the old one. That sounds like a joke, but I have heard the same conversation with doctors, managers, and recent graduates. Computer knowledge has never perfectly followed age or intelligence. Sometimes the best possible support ticket is still solved by checking the new password, the power cable, or the button nobody pressed. The real skill people lost is troubleshooting. When I was younger, connecting a device rarely worked on the first attempt. You check the cable, the port, the driver, the settings, and then search forums until something finally happens. Modern devices are far better. Most of the time, you tap once and everything works. That convenience removed the repeated little failures that taught us how to isolate a problem. We did not become technically curious because we were smarter. Our unreliable computers forced us to practice. I have watched students save every document to the desktop because it is the only location they recognize. Eventually, one file is saved somewhere else. They call it and ask us to find it, but they do not know the file name, the folder, or even the file type. They only remember what the document was about. When we locate it, they act as if the computer hid it deliberately. From their point of view, that is exactly what happened. Their phones automatically organize photos and videos, so they never had to develop a system of their own. At a university technology support department, we sometimes hired computer science students. I expected them to arrive with better skills than the average employee. Instead, it was becoming rare to find a senior student who could type comfortably on a physical keyboard. Some could write code but struggled to install software, navigate a desktop, or explain where their project files were stored. It felt like the old joke about teaching an executive to attach a PDF to an email, except the person receiving the lesson was a college freshman studying computer science. I met a university student who thought the pointer could only move as far as the mouse could slide in one direction. When the pointer reached the edge of the screen, the student concluded that some items were unreachable. It had never occurred to them to lift the mouse, place it back in the center of the mat, and continue moving. They had grown up with touchscreens and trackpads, where your hand interacts with the surface differently. It was not stupidity. It was a basic physical action that nobody had ever needed to demonstrate. One young programmer on my team could use an AI assistant to produce code incredibly quickly. The problem appeared when the code failed. He could not explain what the program was doing, test whether the answer was sensible, or repair it without asking the AI for another answer. Each new suggestion created a different problem, and he followed everyone with complete confidence. He knew how to operate a powerful tool, but not how to evaluate its work. That may be the most important version of computer literacy now. People describe young users as digital natives, but the label confuses consumption with competence. They are often excellent at editing a video on a phone, learning a new social app, or navigating an interface they have never seen. Those are real skills, but the devices were designed to hide folders, formats, installations, and errors. A generation did not suddenly become incapable. We built technology that removed every reason to understand what happens underneath, then acted surprised when nobody understood it. There is another side to this. Plenty of older workers cannot search an email, create a PDF, or find anything on a desktop covered with hundreds of icons. Technology changes, and every generation becomes fluent in the tools it actually needs. Knowing a command line is not proof of intelligence, just as moving quickly through a phone does not prove technical expertise. The real crisis is that schools and employers assumed familiarity would replace instruction. We stopped teaching the basics before the basics disappeared. The best new employee I trained did not know much about our computers, but she did something increasingly rare. She tried. Before calling for help, she read the message on the screen, checked whether the cable was connected, searched the company guide, and wrote down what had already failed. Her problem was simple, but her method was excellent. Within a few months, everyone was asking her for help. Computer literacy is not memorizing every shortcut. It is believing that when something goes wrong, you can investigate instead of immediately surrendering.